Hi, folks. Welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ. It is Thursday, and normally that would mean a preview edition of Racin-n-Braisin, but I'm going to throw a little bit of a twist on it this week since we have an off week. Now, there is still racing to preview, and we will jump into that. But first, I want to do a grade this year of the fan experience so far in the first quarter of the season. All of the other journalists and media people in the NASCAR realm are doing their grades of the drivers, the competition, and teams, all of the big things that us fans are paying attention to. And I think it's great that we're taking this off week to do some sort of reflection on what we've seen through the season so far. So I figured I would do the same thing, but from a fan perspective, which is what I am. I'm not a media personality. I am not linked into NASCAR or have an inside scoop with anything other than what I see on the TV, what I read on the internet, and what I watch on YouTube, and also consume through podcasting. So I figure let's do a bit of a grade on what we've seen so far this year. So I thought about it a little bit and I broke it down into two main categories. The first is the grading of the broadcast, and then the second will be the grading of the on-track product itself, what we've seen. So let's dive right into it. First with the broadcast. Now there's three series that I pay attention to mostly. The Cup Series, of course, Xfinity, and the trucks. Those are the ones that I talk about every week. So I decided to break down their broadcasts. Now, of course, we're in a new TV schedule, so it's kind of all over the place. So let's start off with the Cup Series. The Cup Series splits their broadcasting between the Fox Sports umbrella, FS1, FS2, and of course the main Fox network. And also Prime is picking up the practice and qualifying for the Cup Series. Fox Sports, let's give them a grade. I gave them a B so far this year. Now we're almost done with the Fox Sports portion of the broadcast season. So far this year, highlights, I will say, they've put more time into the broadcast. We've had longer pre-races. We're getting about an hour and a half of a pre-race, whereas in previous years, even including up to last year, we were getting like these little half-hour jump-ins right before the anthem. I personally like pre-race shows. It gives us a chance to interview drivers, get a feel for how the drivers are feeling before the race, any last minute news that we need to know about, who's going to the back or anything like that. So Fox having a longer pre-race this year, I think, has been a plus. On top of that, they've also added some extra time at the end of the races. So we've had a few more post-race interviews before they jump off to whatever else that they're doing. That's been a plus. Now, on the downside for Fox and what's bringing their grade down is the booth itself. Mike Joy in the play-by-play and then Chris Myers in the pre-race are showing their age, and their mental acuity is definitely going down, and it's very noticeable. They're flubbing on words, they're flubbing on names, they're flubbing on all sorts of stuff, and even getting a little glib about trying to cover it. So that's very disappointing. Yet again, it's definitely time for a change. It's been time for a change. Now, as far as the Harvick and Boyer chemistry go in the booth, I don't think it's genuine. I feel like it's forced. I feel like their producers are trying to push them to say certain things and act certain ways, have certain tensions against each other that are very forced and not natural. I do not feel that Kevin Harvick would seek out Clint Boyer outside of the track in any form. I just don't see the two of them being off-track friends. So I think you can kind of tell in the booth. And then the final thing that's really brought the grade down is just the camera work. Year after year has been a problem. Just too close of an angle and not enough wider view of the rest of the racing. All we ever get is the leader. As far as the prime coverage goes of the practice and the qualifying, I'll give them a B plus. The only reason that I'm giving them a plus because they're essentially just basically right now Fox 2.0. We're getting all the same broadcasters, the same broadcast team, but the only plus that I'm giving them there is that I can tell the difference between the prime broadcast and the Fox broadcast. It feels fresher. It feels like they're actually giving more effort in the prime broadcast. I'm hoping that that's going to be great news for the five races that they're going to get here coming up, starting at the 600. Let's move on to Xfinity. Xfinity is a tough one for me to grade this year because I do not get the CW at my location out in the mountains of Carolina. It just doesn't come through on my antenna. So I've been forced to do the CW hack this year. I discovered that the CW app shows a battle cam. It's not necessarily the battle of the race, but it shows battles on the race. You're able to watch the entirety of the race, but there's no commentating to it. It's just the sound of the track and the broadcasting of the images. That's it. So to figure out what's going on, I've had to turn to the radio. And the radio deserves an A no matter what. Has always deserved A's, right? Because the radio has done a great job, no matter if it's MRN or PRN, of painting a great picture. However, my CW hack is getting a grade of a C because the radio and the battle cam don't sync up. I've had to actually turn to the NASCAR app to have a leaderboard going to really get a better picture of what's going on. So my CW hack getting a C. The radio broadcast of the Xfinity Series always gets an A. The CW broadcast of the Xfinity Series, I would love to give an A because of the booth lineup that they have. Adam Alexander, Larry Mack, and Jamie McMurray. All three great in the booth. I wish I had the pleasure of enjoying them throughout the season. That's where Xfinity's broadcast ratings stand. CW gets maybe an A. The CW app gets a C at best. My CW hack gets a C, and the radio always gets an A. So that leaves us with trucks and their broadcast. Of course, they fall under the Fox Sports umbrella, mostly on FS1 and FS2. I'm giving them a solid B. The reason for that is because I do not care for Jamie Little as a play-by-play commentator. I don't think she has a good enough flow in the booth for the play-by-play. She does great as a pit road reporter on Sundays, but I don't think she does great leading a broadcast. And it definitely shows whenever she has a guest like Joey Logano or Brad Keselowski in the booth, where they actually tend to step on her a lot. Now, the saving grace with the Fox broadcast with trucks is Michael Waltrip. And how could you not love Mikey, right? Everybody does. I certainly do. Have always enjoyed it. And every now and then, if you're paying close enough attention, Mikey gives you a little tidbit into what his personal life looks like. And I think it's interesting and a little comical and humorous, to say the least. So overall, trucks, the Fox broadcast getting a B. Let's move now on to the on-track product. This won't be as in-depth. This will just be kind of a generalization. For the Cup Series, I am giving them a C. The car itself has shown its true colors. We're now in the fourth season of the next-gen car, and we have learned that the parity is ruining racing. The cars are too close together. And when you put them that close together in performance and setup, that they just all become the same. And then the drivers have to end up driving the same way. And it becomes next to impossible to pass. And that's what we've gotten this year. It's been impossible to pass on almost every track. The only place that we actually have seen a good amount of passing this year has been the intermediate Las Vegas race. Aside from that, everything else has been pretty much follow the leader or track position, and what you get is what you get. Super speedways in particular, track position is key with that because you can't move forward anymore. Same with the short tracks. Track position is king. And again, you just cannot move forward with this car. Very disappointing. But what that's doing is proving to us that money buys wins. HMS and JGR are at the top of the list this year for wins, and their money is buying them that extra tenth on the track to keep them up front. I think that's going to be something that we see continue throughout the rest of the season. Xfinity's on-track product, I'm going to give Xfinity's product a B minus. That's only because it's had one giant stain on it. The racing this year has been mostly good out of the Xfinity Series. It's been aggressive to a point. It's been pretty racy in most of the tracks, except for, of course, the stinker that Kyle Larson put on last week at Bristol. But their big embarrassment this year at Martinsville, I think, is what drops my grade down for them to a B minus. So that leaves us with trucks and their on-track performance, and I'm leaving them right there at a solid B. The racing has been good this year. Not great, but it's been good. It's been compelling enough for me to watch all season long, and I haven't, been compelled to turn it off and catch the highlights later or check the replay the next day or anything like that. Overall, the season so far has been okay. There's been controversies. There's been some big penalties. And then there's been this background noise of the lawsuit that's kind of been hanging around as well. So there's a lot of storylines going on this year, a lot to follow. We have this weekend off, and then the Cup Series goes straight on through until the finale at Phoenix. So, having said that there's a week off for the Cup Series, that means that there is racing this weekend, and it's at the Rock. Rockingham returns Friday and Saturday. Trucks will take the track on Friday, starting at 12:30 with their practice and qualifying on FS2. Xfinity will have their practice on Friday, practice only, at 3 o'clock on the CW app. And then the trucks will race at 5 on Friday afternoon. That's a 200-lap race on FS1. Saturday, the Xfinity Series will do their qualifying at 11:30 on the CW app. And then there is a twofer going on the Rock, at the Rock on Saturday. Arca East is going to be there. They're going to do a race at 1 o'clock. It will be on Flow Racing. If you have a subscription to that, you'll be able to catch that race. If not, look for a replay of that. They generally show that somewhere along the way on FS1 a week or two from now. And then finally, Saturday rounds out with the Xfinity Series race at 4 o'clock on the CW, and MRN is carrying the radio broadcast. Remember, Casey Kane makes his return to the Xfinity Series. He's going to be driving in the Richard Childress Racing, I believe, number 33. That'll be fun to see Casey Kane return to the track, and good to see NASCAR returning to the Rock. Hopefully, the racing product, on-track product, will be really good. I did hear that the grandstands for Saturday are sold out, so that's great news. Hopefully, that's a great push for the Cup Series to look into returning there in the next couple of years. Finally, it is Easter weekend, and that means that the Cup Series, of course, is off on Sunday for Easter, but I will not be off. I won't be working, but I won't take time off from making a video for you guys. Because it is Easter, I did decide on doing a ham roll. Not the same kind of ham roll you may be thinking of. This is one that comes down from my great-grandmother. That I grew up with as a kid. It's made with biscuit dough and chopped up ham, and it is served with a white gravy. Sunday's video is going to focus more on the ham roll and talk more about my cooking and maybe a couple memories than what our normal Sunday schedule video will be. So until then, guys, I'll leave you right there at it. Video has gotten long on this quarterly review, but until Sunday, I hope you guys enjoy the racing at the Rock, enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, and have yourself a great Easter. Until Sunday, guys, I will talk to you all later. Thanks a lot.